Hello, I just wanted to make this quick little book haul video because I came back home from Goodwill, and yeah, I'll just get into it. I sorted it into two stacks because some books are like either in an older international version or just like an older publication, so it doesn't have like barcodes, but I like to track the books I have so that when I go thrifting, I can just search it and see, because sometimes I forget what books I have, and I can see if I have it already. So that's kind of the main reason. I use Libib to track my stock. Sorry, this glare is kind of intense. Let me see if I can. Oh, but okay. So I'll just get started with the stack that was able to scan into Libib. So first off, I have Graham Greene, the confidential agent. I really like the cover, and it's penguin. I actually just finished taking off all the Goodwill tags, so that is no longer here, but I do like to keep the old price tags if it's from like other bookstores or just, I don't know. It seems like this is from, I'm not sure if this is from the UK, but the US price is at the bottom. I don't know if it'll focus, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's, I've been interested in Graham Greene. I actually don't have any of his books, but I'm very interested in like spy stuff, and yeah, this has been like the #1 recommendation for me. And I have some John le Carré, but it's kind of hard for me to find that in Goodwill. And then the next is another Graham Greene book, The Captain and the Enemy, and it seems to also be, this one has like the old book shop it was from. Yeah, so I keep those, but I get rid of the Goodwill ones. But each of these were $2. I kind of stick to paperbacks. I'm not actually a big fan of hardbacks, which is kind of controversial, but I do like to take these a lot and take them outside and like bend them, and it seems more portable, especially when they're like in this like kind of smaller form factor. So yeah, it's great that the paperbacks are cheaper. The next one is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I actually don't know too much about it, but I do know that it was popular, gosh, at some point, like the 2000s maybe. But it was interesting because when I'm looking at like books at Goodwill, I kind of do like a quick flip through to see if it's really marked up or not, and to see if it's worth getting. But when I flip through, I love it when I find like old like memorabilia, and I kind of like get to see into who had this before. And this actually is a stamp, and it has like a fake signature from Bugs Bunny, and it's like a collectible stampers stamp thing for a collecting club for kids, and it has this whole like information on the back, and it says here it's from 1996, which I thought was super cool. And I think I also look into like what year this book was from, and this seems to be from 1992. I'm not, yeah, but yeah, Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I don't really know too much about the story, but yeah, I've just heard it was popular at some point, so I thought it'd be nice to have. This one I'd actually heard of recently. It's called A Visit from the Goon Squad. I actually don't really know when this came out, but I saw it like on a list of like someone was recommending this book, and you know, it had the sticker, winner of National Book Critics Circle Award, so I thought I'd give it a go, especially it's $2. There's actually 2 copies of this at the Goodwill, and this seemed to just be the better version. Yeah, and it's like pretty nice. There's no markings or anything, and there wasn't any ear markings, so that's always a good sign. So yeah, I also don't know too much about this, but reading the synopsis, it sounded really interesting. Benny is an aging former punk rocker and record executive. Sasha is the passionate, troubled young woman he employs. Here, Jennifer Egan brilliantly reveals their pasts along with the inner lives of a host of other characters whose paths intersect with theirs. With music pulsing on every page, A Visit from the Goon Squad is a startling, exhilarating novel of self-destruction and redemption. And I love books about music, so that sounds like it'll be a fun read. The next, which I was so surprised to find actually, was Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. And I've actually found a number of her books at the same Goodwill. But I was not expecting to find Demon Copperhead, because this is kind of like one of the newer ones that she's done. This one was pretty earmarked a bit, but I flattened out some of the pages. But other than that, it's in decent condition. And it seemed like someone had just finished reading this and just like put it here. But great find. I have this on my reading list, so yeah, that sounds like it'll be a great read as well. The next two are like these Penguin classics. I don't always pick up Penguin classics because some classics I'm just like less interested in or don't really know anything about, so I don't want to pick it up. And one of the ones I saw was The Rainbow by D.H. Lawrence, I think. And it seemed to be in perfect condition, but I didn't know if I wanted to really... It looked kind of like... I think it was probably a little bit thicker than the two of these together. And then I was reading the synopsis, and it didn't really seem like something I was interested in, so... yeah. There is a little bit of water damage, but other than that, this one seems to be okay. It's always so interesting seeing the prices of the actual book, because it says in the US it's $9, so this Crawford's books also marked it as $9, the same price, and I got it for $2. And this is the Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Tales of Terror. And I thought I had an edition of this, but I checked my Libib and I didn't. So I was like, okay, let me check if this is marked up. And it's not, and it wasn't even earmarked. The only issue is that there's like a little hole here, or like some paper rip here, which I don't know how that happened. Maybe someone just like poked through this or something, but that's the only issue, really. So good find. And then this other Penguin Classics is Seneca's Letters from a Stoic. This one was pretty earmarked, which fair enough, because it is more of a philosophy book. But this one is kind of ripped up in the back. And I had to flatten out a lot more pages here because it was like earmarked. But there wasn't that many notes, so I was really happy about that, because I feel like this is the type of book someone would mark up a lot more. But yeah, this was a decent condition for $2. So yeah. And the last two in this stack, they happen to be Dover Thrift editions, which I don't really like Dover Thrift in general, because usually they come in that like ugly blue background as a cover and then like an image. But these ones were cool because they come in like that. So I got the double and Notes from the Underground, and I just finished reading the Brothers Karamazov, or the Karamazov Brothers. The edition I have is the Brothers Karamazov. So yeah, and I thought that these editions have really cool covers, and I've heard of these shorter works, so I was excited about that. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, so they're both unabridged, but in here it seems to be the old tag, and that says 75 cents. So this used to be 75 cents, but the price of this book that it was sold for was, at a store, would be $1.50, and I got it for $2. So this is inflation. But yeah, got this for $2, and Notes from Underground also for $2. This, for some reason, is $1. I'm not sure why that is, and there's no other price inside it, which is very interesting. But yeah, so there is that stack. Let me get the next. Okay, so the sci-fi section is sort of a hit or miss for me, because I happen to have a decent amount of them, but sometimes I don't really like this like older, I don't really know what you would call it, like some of the older editions of books. I also have like James Baldwin's Another Country with this type of color except green, and I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know what you'd call this. I don't know why they did that either, but usually I kind of stay away from these because they, I don't know, I don't like the vibe of it. But this seemed to be in such like good condition, and it didn't have like a musty smell to it, that I was like, okay. And this is The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I've heard good things about it, and it's like, I don't know too much about it besides like the synopsis, and it's, the synopsis goes pretty in detail. But this Avon's like has like these older publications and like other older publications similar to this where I cannot find the ISBN, so I'm gonna have to somehow look for it. But yeah, I like the look of this vintage cover. I think it's pretty sweet, and yeah, looking forward to this one. The next one is, this is like the last book. There's two more things that are more of like more reference books. I'm not really sure what they are, but we'll get there when we get there. This is the Journals of Anais Nin. So I actually heard of her maybe a couple years ago, and then like didn't really remember about her, and then like just recently got reminded about her. But this seems to be a UK version of the book. I'm gonna have to manually enter this ISBN to Libib. And so this is volume 4. I don't know where the other volumes were in the Goodwill. Someone might have bought it or something, but yeah, I just know she writes about her life in summary, which is why it's her journals. But I don't know, people have talked about it in such high regard, so I kind of wanted to see what it's about. So yeah, it seemed exciting, and this has like this older book sticker, so it says now only $1.99 from B. Dalton Bargain Books. Seems to be like a local bookstore. But yeah, that's cool. Now these last two seem to be reference books. I've never heard of this series before, so I tried to scan them into Libib, but Libib wouldn't recognize it. So this is, I think, from a series called Ion Design. I only saw 2, but there could have been a chance that I'm just ignored looking. Like sometimes my brain just like doesn't want to continue looking at everything, and sometimes it will like look at every single book. But after I got these 2, I was like, oh, that's probably it. So I kind of just gave up on looking at them. But this seems to be from a series 4, this is number 4, called Worth, from Eye of Design, and it's cool. It seems to be like a design book, and I always love collecting like books like this, or like photography books, just to like kind of have, because it's nice to have like visual reference books, especially like, also there just can be cool like coffee table books if that's how you intend to use them. And the second one is like a black cover, and it's like an eye. It's really hard to see on this one compared to this one, but it's like an eye. This one is a black eye. You can kind of see it when I reflect it like that. Yeah, so that's cool. And this is also an eye. I thought this was the front, but this is the front. And yeah, it just shows a lot of cool designs. I like this one because it has some like cool Soviet Russian art in here. I think it was this one. I don't know if I passed it. I know I was skimming through it before I got it. Oh yeah, like that's cool. Like that's cool to me. That, and they had something else that caught my eye. I love like these older posters, the Soviet like art styles. Like that's really cool. Like look at that. That's cool. Yeah, so this has some of that, and then also some like modern designs. But yeah, I thought those were cool. The only other thing I got, I also go to like the electronics section when I go to Goodwill, was, I feel like it's not smart to hold it up, but this is gonna be a project for sure. But this was this turntable was $10, and it's like a Technics Quartz direct drive, the SLQ 300. And I've fixed up some old turntables before, and when I saw this I was like, oh, this is like a find for $10. But there is a decent amount of like things missing. Like this hinge is not keeping, it's completely broken, so it doesn't keep the needle down, and it has no needle, so I'd have to find a cartridge. Clearly the hinges are off. But I've never seen one of these turntables with like its own cables that you can put in, because the one I have is currently let me double check this. It's a Pioneer. I need to start with a P. I've had that for like a couple years now. I can't believe I forgot. But it's a Pioneer, and it's from the 80s, and this is also from the 80s. But the knobs all seem to work, so I think I just have to clean it up and like replace some things, fix the weights, and it seems like it would work in theory. And I have to clean this up, but yeah, I just bought it as a project because it's only $10, and like these things go for like over 100, maybe closer to like 200. Yeah, so that's all I've got. Thanks for watching. If you watch this, oh, I forgot to say welcome, but anyway, too late for that. But yeah, have a good one.